Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Chentex Multimedia live stream for the 9th of April, all the way from Brisbane, Australia. Yes, it's a beautiful day out there, and hey, it's again Friday and coming on to the weekend. There's lots that was going to happen this weekend, but a lot is not going to be happening this weekend. As we know, some things will take place, but a lot of other functions have been postponed or cancelled. We will look at all of those later in the show as well. And today, our focus will be on the AstraZeneca vaccine, the rollout here in Australia, and of course, some of the problems associated with it, like the blood clot that has been identified. So we'll look at the risks and what the health authorities are saying, what the government is saying, and how that rollout is going. And the other news is, of course, we know that Target has missed the target and it will be closing. And of course, CBA, which is in the money business, is being charged or fined $7 million. We will look at all those in great detail in today's news as we head into the weekend. Okay, so heading into the weekend, we must know what the weather has in store for us. And with that, let's welcome Dilraj.
Good morning everyone. Weather forecast for the rest of today is maximum 31 degree. Brisbane area is mostly sunny with no chance of rain. Light winds becoming west to southwesterly 15 to 20 km per hour in the middle of the day and then becoming light in the late evening. Fire danger is low to moderate. Sun protection is recommended till 10 to 3 and UV index is predicted to reach 8, that is very high. Tomorrow Saturday, minimum will be 18 and maximum will be 32. Brisbane area will be mostly sunny with 5% chances of rain. Light winds will become westerly 15 to 20 km per hour in the morning and then becoming light in the late afternoon. And on Sunday, minimum will be 19 and maximum will be 30. Brisbane area will be mostly sunny, winds westerly 15 to 20 km per hour, turning southwesterly 20 to 30 km per hour during the morning. And over the weekend, sun protection is recommended from 8:40 a.m. till 10 to 3 in the afternoon, and UV index is predicted to reach 7, that is very high. So till tomorrow, stay safe and enjoy the rest of your day.
And thank you very much for that update, Dilraj. As we now heading into the week. Heading into the weekend, now that we are up to date with the news update, and of course we know what the weather is going to have in store for us as well. Right now, moving on, we'll go and take a very quick look at all the news that we talked about, and let's see how they are shaping up. Well, first of all, we were looking at Target. As we know that Target has missed the target and is being targeted by Kmart. It will soon be converted to Kmart. So Target reveals that when Australian stores close and they will convert to Target. The dates have been decided when Target branches will be shuttered and sales expected to clear stock. A number of Target stores will close, giving people the opportunity to snap up a bargain with unexpected clearance sales ahead of doors being shut. Owners of Target of Coal is West Farmers confirmed dates for the stores across Queensland that will be shutting down. Their store closures include Longreach on April the 10th, Clifton Beach in Cairns in April 17th and Kippering north of Brisbane on April 24th. In Cairns, the stores will close on May 1st, while in Willows, the Townsville is set to shut down on June 5. Wesfarmers flagged closures in May 2020, announcing that 75 targeted stores would permanently close. The company said the move was necessary to improve the financial viability of the business. Well, around 55 Target branches around Australia are expected to be converted into Kmart outlets this year. It comes after 16 Target outlets already went through transformation into Kmart in 2020. However, Target stores in Caboolture districts have been saved from the cut and will continue to operate. A Target spokesperson said the Kippering team's well-being is a priority during the process. Our focus is on supporting our team through this time, and we will work through finding suitable re-employment without other Wesfarmers business as well as other employees in town, she said. So it is wonderful to see that. Now, next news is CBA is sued by ASIC for allegedly overcharging customers. Data entry errors and poor processes were blamed. CBA is facing allegations that it incorrectly charged customers monthly access fee totaling 55 million over a 9-year period, partially as a result of data entry errors and system misconfiguration. The Australian Securities and Investments Commission, ASIC, has filed civil proceedings in the federal court against CBA's conduct, which occurred because of 30 different ways in which CBA's system and processes were inadequate, improperly configured, and allowed manual errors that resulted in monthly access fee being charged. The regulator alleged that in a statement of claim, this impacted nearly 1 million customers and more than 800,000 accounts, with CBA pocketing $55 million. It receives 14,000 complaints over the 9-year period. It has since repaid $66 million, which includes interest amounts on incorrectly charged fees. ASIC criticized CBA for failing to undertake an appropriate review of the multiple systematic issues for ongoing failure of this system. ASIC comments its proceeding because financial institutions need to have robust compliance system to meet their obligations to its customers, it was said in a statement. Financial institutions need to put customers first, and customers should have confidence that the bank they deal with charge fees correctly. CBA released a statement apologizing to the impacted customers. However, it is stated it will defend the alleged breaches were expressed by ASIC. A hearing date is yet to be set by federal court. So there we go. That's the news in brief for this morning. The two news that we were touching on. One is the Target stores closing and being converted to Kmart. Of course, we know that Wesfarmers Group owns all of this, and they are trying to look at relocating the people who are working within this. And the next news we looked at was the CBA. Well, right now the features for today is mainly around the vaccine. Let's hear from our Prime Minister first up.
Our purpose here tonight is to reassure Australians, to reassure them that we're being very clear about what the very low level of risk is here, but it is rare, but a serious risk for those who can find themselves in that situation. I'd also note that it was unforeseen. I mean, these are not things that are presented in the trials or other phases, as I understand it, when the AstraZeneca vaccine was going through that process, either here or overseas. You'll recall that the Health Minister and I were very adamant that the process for approving the AstraZeneca vaccine, indeed all of the vaccines that are being used here in Australia, would go through every single process required of our TGA, and it did. No corners cut, no process not followed. And so, in standing here tonight, I'm saying to Australians that we're being very upfront with you. There is this issue. It is an issue of, I'd say, low risk in terms of its incidence, say 4 to 6 out of a million. That is a very low incidence, but it would not be appropriate. It would not be the right thing to do to not share that information with Australians. So we are doing that, and I would hope that that would provide a reassurance about the way that the government is seeking to inform people about the program.
So it is reassuring that the government is addressing those. How is the government addressing that? Let's take a look in this next report.
So they took into account and really balanced the risk and benefit of taking the decisions they took today, which is related to their advice given to government this evening. And they took definitely note what was decided in other countries, which has been variable in relation to these matters, and put that into an Australian context, not only as we are now in terms of the epidemiology of the disease in Australia up to this point, but also looking into the future about what might happen if there are outbreaks of COVID-19 in Australia. So just to reiterate, this is a very rare event. At the moment it seems to be around 4 to 6 per million doses of vaccine. It's only been found in the first dose of the AstraZeneca vaccine, usually within 4 to 10 days after that vaccine. But it is serious and it can cause up to a 25% death rate when it occurs. So that was the background, and so the ATAGI recommendations are the following. At the current time, the use of the Pfizer vaccine is preferred over the AstraZeneca vaccine in adults aged less than 50 years who have not already received a first dose of AstraZeneca vaccine. This is based both on the increased risk of complications from COVID-19 with increasing age and thus increased benefit of the vaccination, and the potentially lower but not zero risk of this rare event with increasing age. The second recommendation is that immunisation providers should only give a first dose of AstraZeneca COVID-19 vaccine to adults under 50 years of age where benefit clearly outweighs the risk for that individual's circumstances. The third recommendation is people that have had their first dose of the COVID-19 AstraZeneca without any serious adverse events can safely be given their second dose. This includes adults under the age of 50 and people who have had blood clots associated with low platelet levels after their first dose of COVID-19 AstraZeneca should not be given a second dose. So that's the all but one person that we've had so far in Australia are in that category. People that have had their first dose should safely have their second dose. The final recommendation is that the Department of Health further develop and refine resources for informed consent that clearly convey the benefits and the risks of the AstraZeneca vaccine for both immunisation providers and consumers of all ages. And that is underway, that work, and that will be provided overnight and into the morning.
Dr. Norman Swan joins me now.
And so that's the news there from the government department. And of course, next up we'll look at the Department of Health and see what the Secretary has to say on this matter.
All vaccines have adverse effects, some serious. Flu vaccines do. The Pfizer vaccine has a risk of anaphylaxis, which we've seen. But this syndrome, after all of the work we've done with the UK and Europe, does seem to be a real syndrome, and we now feel that at an abundance of caution, given that this syndrome seems to occur mainly in younger people for whom the risk of severe COVID is not so great, that there is a basis to have a preferred recommendation for those under 50. I want to reiterate that we are strongly encouraging those 50 and over to take up the AstraZeneca vaccine. It is a highly effective vaccine at preventing severe COVID. The risk is extraordinarily low. I've had my first dose, I'll have my second dose. It is a vaccine that is very, very effective. And so this is a position that we're in, that we feel out of an abundance of precaution on the evidence we have at the moment. So what does this mean for the program? For phase one, which is vulnerable people, we will pretty much continue as we are. Those over 70 and 80 will continue to get AstraZeneca at their GPs and be confident in its efficacy and its safety. For those healthcare workers under 50, they will now be prioritised to Pfizer, and that might delay that particular phase of 1B. But that's the only phase that might be delayed. The important thing is that all of the vulnerable people, those vulnerable to severe COVID, will be covered as we planned by the middle of the year.
So as was planned, so all of those people categorized in those age groups will be vaccinated. Well, next up we'll look at what our CMO, our Chief Medical Officer, is saying. So what is Greg Hunt's instruction to the medical regulator? Next report.
I did send via our Chief Medical Officer last night a very clear point to the Australian Technical Advisory Group that they should make their considerations independently. They should make their decisions based on their best judgment of the balance of safety for Australians, and that they should do so fearlessly. And we are blessed to have what I believe is arguably the world's finest regulatory and safety advisory processes and institutions in Australia, and we will be following their advice.
And of course that advice will be followed, but right now, what are the risks of that blood clot with AstraZeneca, so how is that shaping up worldwide, and are there real threats, or is it all talk? What's happening? Who are most vulnerable? So is it advisable to go and get the jab now, or wait and see how it progresses? Here's that report.
Germany and Italy have become the latest countries to suspend use of the Oxford AstraZeneca jab over concerns about blood clots.
Spain has become the latest country. The Republic of Ireland.
And Denmark. The Netherlands.
Thailand. AstraZeneca in the spotlight again as Canada advises against getting the shot for those under 55. A month ago, several countries put a pause on the rollout of the AstraZeneca vaccine. The reason was a small but growing number of reports of serious blood clots and some deaths following the vaccine. Now, it's always hard to determine cause and effect with side effects from a new drug or a new vaccine. The original assumption was that these were the usual kind of blood clots that many people have anyway.
There is, at this point, no evidence that it causes blood clots. Blood clots happen. They happen in Australia fairly commonly. There's about 17,000 cases of blood clots in Australia every year. So we do expect to see blood clots at the time when vaccinations are given.
But it soon became clear that this clotting pattern was very different from normal circumstances. It was a very unusual, rare and dangerous picture, more likely in younger people and women.
We can see clots and low platelet counts in a variety of disorders, but an immune trigger, that's unusual. Soon after vaccination, 4 to 21 days, that started to become a pattern, and so that's where the link or the concern started to emerge.
Despite overseas haematologists issuing detailed clinical guidance for their own doctors, Australian authorities held back. But that all changed last week when a 44-year-old man was admitted to Box Hill Hospital in Melbourne with a clotting syndrome which exactly fitted the case definition.
And we're taking this very seriously. This case is currently being investigated by the Therapeutic Goods Administration, and a meeting will be held tomorrow morning of the TGA Vaccine Safety Investigation Group, which will examine this report and determine whether it could be linked to the AstraZeneca vaccine.
So there you go, whether it will be linked to the vaccine or not, as the investigations are taking place, we'll keep you updated on that. Right now, a message from our sponsors.
GlobeNet Realty. GlobeNet Realty has been the longest established, trusted and respected agency in its trade area. Washa Chandra, Director of GlobeNet Realty, provides honest and ethical service to her customers. If you are thinking of investing in Brisbane real estate market, or if you are seeking professional property management, then you should contact Usha Chandra today on landline 3865 4466 or mobile 0419 775 416. And for further updates, log on to our website www.globenetralted.com.au. GlobeNet Realty is your own local real estate agency. Situated at Shop 52281 Sandgate Road, Boondall. GlobeNet Realty. Real estate is our world.
And real estate is the world. As we know, every Wednesday we bring to you the live real estate update with Usha Chandra right here. Well, right now on to the second part of today's news bulletin. And first up, we look at that rare cyclone event which is looming in Western Australia.
Let's get more now on the severe weather warnings that are in place for WA in the next few days as two brewing cyclones look set to combine or interact with a third low also emerging. Here's Jonathan Howe from the Bureau of Meteorology to tell us more. Jonathan, what's happening?
Yeah, good afternoon, Roz. So quite a complex and unusual event unfolding off the waters of WA with three tropical lows currently spinning over the Indian Ocean. The first one is Tropical Cyclone Seroja, Category 1 system that did bring that devastation to Timor-Leste and Indonesia earlier in the week. The second system is a tropical low, which is likely to be named Tropical Cyclone Odette tonight or into tomorrow morning. And the third low, as you mentioned, currently sitting further west, which could bring some heavy rain to Cocos Island. This one isn't as much of a threat of turning into a tropical cyclone, but it's really going to be, the focus is going to be on Odette and Seroja over the next few days. As you did mention, they are going to start to interact with each other and do a little bit of a kind of a tropical cyclone dance and twirl around each other. But they will bring potentially dangerous weather to parts of WA over the coming days. So quite an interesting kind of event unfolding here as we are seeing.
What's going to be the impact on WA?
Yeah, so we are expecting to see cyclone impacts pretty much across any parts of the west coast of WA, all the way from Exmouth down to about Perth, as Seroja does approach the coast. So that does mean we will see destructive winds of in excess of 125 kilometres an hour, also very heavy rainfall leading to flash flooding as well as dangerous storm tide and pretty high, surf and erosion as well. So are seeing quite a few of these impacts as the system draws closer to the coast.
Okay, well, what's the timing of this and their approach of the coast and making landfall, Jonathan?
Yeah, so we are expecting, Odette to kind of spin up towards the north of Seroja and then spin down. And Seroja will basically kind of zap all the energy out of the smaller system and expect it to increase into Category 3 system by Saturday. It will approach the coast anywhere between about Exmouth and Carnarvon by Saturday morning. And that's when we'll start to see those really destructive winds pick up. And the real focus is going to be anywhere on the coastline from Carnarvon down to Jurien Bay, particularly from Sunday afternoon into the evening. And that's where we're going to see the heavy rainfall increase. And Perth could even see some periods of heavy rainfall as well, particularly into Sunday and then Monday as well. But it all depends on how this cyclone does move.
Okay, so what's the advice to people in those areas? How should they prepare?
This is a really rare event for people across WA. The last time we did see a cyclone crossing was Tropical Cyclone Owen back in 2015, and that did bring devastation to the banana crops around Carnarvon. But this time we are expecting to cross the coast as a Category 2 system. There are many people out and about along the coast. It is school holidays, so many travellers and many campers around there. The advice is to follow basically all the information from the Department of Fire and Emergency Services, DFES, and importantly to recognise the difference between a blue, yellow and a red alert as well. So follow all advice from them over the coming days. It could be quite dangerous. We could see damage to homes, caravans, and also tents and other things like that. So really keep an eye on the warnings as well.
Right, and Jonathan, we've seen the pictures from Indonesia and the havoc caused by Cyclone Seroja at Timor-Leste as well when it passed over those areas. Will conditions be that bad when Seroja approaches and crosses land in WA?
Yeah, so Seroja, as it was moving through Indonesia, was a strong Category 1, possibly Category 2 system, and we are expecting that similar kind of strength as it crosses the WA coast. Of course, the WA infrastructure is a lot stronger and able to cope with this, but this is a part of the coastline which really doesn't see winds in excess of 125 kilometres an hour, so we are likely to see some kind of damage and disruptions to communities. So the message is to really prepare and do everything you can to enact your cyclone plan and also to follow all the advice from DFES as well.
Jonathan Howe, thank you for that.
Wonderful to get that news up front there from Bureau of Meteorology, and Jonathan always providing that update. And of course, it said that it's not going to be as bad as the one there in Timor, but Seroja, who is fast approaching Western Australia. So the message is quite clear to be out in the lookout. Right now, the other news that we're going to look at in this bulletin today is the COVID situation in India. A while back, it was reported that things are looking good, under control, and they had the production of AstraZeneca, and in fact, they were assisting many other neighboring nations such as Myanmar and other little countries. But what's happened since? Let's take a look at that report.
The COVID-19 situation in the country clearly not in control. India has reported the highest daily coronavirus cases in the world for the second day running now. Nearly 97,000 new cases were reported in the past 24 hours, a day after India crossed a lakh of cases mark. This means that over the next 2 days, India has averaged 1 lakh cases per day. 446 lives lost, and that was reported just in the last 24 hours, down from what we saw on Monday. But the average daily deaths, again, highest in 4 months. Now, this is now drastically the situation that has changed, and there is about 5.9 lakh cases in the last 7 days compared to about 1.1 lakh in a month ago. And the percentage change over the previous week is also quite striking. 44% change as of Tuesday, but just 9% a month ago. See how significant that difference really is. And the major concern at this point, the positivity rate jumping to almost 8%, way above what the government had targeted to keep it down to just 5%. All right, so that's the overall picture in the country. Delhi and Mumbai both continue to be a great cause of concern. Delhi now had about 5,100 cases in the past 24 hours, which is its biggest single-day COVID-19 figure this year at least. And this comes at a time when night curfew was imposed as well, from 10 p.m. in the evening to 5 a.m. that has been enforced in the capital now. And the solution to it all, vaccines which need to be opened more and more. Now, doctors and experts saying for everybody, but NDTV caught up with the CEO of Serum Institute, Adar Poonawala, to understand, do we really have the capacity for that?
How stressed for capacity are you presently as far as Covishield is concerned?
Well, very stressed, to put it quite frankly, because, the globe needs this vaccine, and we're prioritizing the needs of India at the moment, and we're still short of being able to supply, to every Indian that needs it. That's why we have these restrictions at the moment, and slowly that will ease as the supply position eases and many other vaccine producers also scale up their capacities. And we hope that along with them, even Covishield will, increase their capacity to 110 million doses a month. But that's only going to happen in the month of June onwards. So that's where we are at the moment, and we're working with the government. We've submitted proposals to try and work with them, and they will hopefully financially support us also to build more capacity, and that's where we are at the moment.
In terms of more capacity, what exactly is it that you're looking for? And I ask this because there was that devastating fire a couple of months back. As I understand it, some of your capacity was hit over there. Is that what you're looking to overcome now?
So the filling line, one of our additional filling lines was damaged, and that has taken 2 more months to come online. That's why we've pushed the April-May deadline to sort of June-July. But before that, we need to make the bulk drug substance, for which we need to sort of commandeer another building and facility where we're making other products. That is the proposal we've submitted to the government, to see if they can financially support us for the capex, at least for that facility, or we would have to then go to the banks. And we're exploring all the options because we remain committed one way or another
Yeah, so there you are with that news update that coronavirus situation in India is worsening, and the numbers that have been coming out is staggering, highest since the last so many months. And of course the production line and everything has been altered, and government funding has been requested. So we'll keep an eye on that situation as well and see how that happens. Well, right now, let's take a look at some of the functions and events. Of course, first of all, we know that Pandit Diwakar Murthy's Indian concert of his students has been postponed, which was supposed to be held tomorrow. And the next big postponement is of Bharatiya Navvarsh Mela, which was organized by Divya Jyoti Jagriti Sansthan, that has been put on hold for now. And the third one that we're going to talk about is Sangeet Mela Sarat Sangeet, which has been cancelled, but another event is being organized for 26th of June. We'll keep you updated and we'll bring to you updates on how that is progressing and what form it might take place. Well, right now, let's take a look at functions and events that are actually taking place. But don't you go anywhere, because I've got a treat for you before we finish today. Well, ladies and gentlemen, right now I'm going to talk to you about another event which is taking place. It's the Brisbane Baisakhi Mela. This is happening on 11th, which is this Sunday. This is one of the events that is taking place. So this will be held at Kelly Park, which is 74 Kelly Street in Sandgate. And it will be a wonderful event, so please do go in, do take part in that. Brisbane Baisakhi Mela 2021, 11th of April on Sunday is going ahead. So please do go ahead and take part and support that event. Well, right now, as I said before, that today we will leave you with something to cherish. Well, as we know that in India, or even on the street, there are so many people who are so talented, but they do so in the name of getting some money in whatever form. But if you look at the talent, the raw talent that actually lies in those places, in the streets even, it's amazing. So today I'm going to leave you with this wonderful clip.
अलविदा इसलिए तुझसे मैं प्यार करूं कि तू एक बादल आवारा जन्म जन्म से साथ तेरे है नाम मेरा जलधारा मुझे जगह आराम नहीं रुक जाना मेरा काम नहीं मेरा साथ कहाँ तक दोगी तुम मैं देश विदेश का बन जाऊं मुझसे प्यार बड़ा कि मैं एक बादल आवारा कैसे बना कि मैं खुद बेदर्दिया ओ नील गगन के दीवाने तू प्यार न मेरा पहचाने मैं तब तक साथ चलूं के जब तक न कहे तुम मैं हारा इसलिए तुझसे मैं प्यार करूं कि तू एक बादल आवारा जन्म जन्म से साथ तेरे है नाम मेरा जलधारा क्यों प्यार में तू नादान बने एक पागल का अरमान बने अब लौट के जाना मुश्किल है मैंने छोड़ दिया है जब सारा इतना न मुझसे तो प्यार बड़ा कि मैं एक बादल आवारा जन्म जन्म से साथ तेरे है नाम मेरा जल की धारा
So, ladies and gentlemen, there you are, up to date on Australian Indian Radio. And ladies and gentlemen, that's all we have for you on this segment on Friday, the 9th of April. And of course, it's so wonderful to see you all coming here, joining in. And don't forget that this weekend is Baisakhi Festival, which will be celebrated on 11th April at Kelly Park, which is 74 Kelly Street in Sandgate. The festival will include a citizenship ceremony, kabaddi, soca, tug of war, children's activity, cultural programs, ride, food stalls, and many more activities. The entry is free and it is an alcohol-free event for open to all. The timing is from 9 a.m. till 6 p.m. Wishing the team all the very best for Baisakhi Mela this weekend. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's all we have for you in today's segment. Until tomorrow, it's goodbye from me. It's always so good to see you. So, until tomorrow, enjoy the rest of the day, but most importantly, stay safe. We'll see you all tomorrow with the weekend edition.